Alright, why does the Megazord look like a Transformer?
What's wrong? Not feeling the new trailers?
Well, it's a remake. So, you gotta admit, expectations are probably pretty low.
Oh, come on. I think it's pretty good. Did you see Elizabeth Banks? She can conquer me any day.
Still, it just feels off, you know?
Well, we should at the very least have an open mind.
Yeah, besides, this is the first Power Ranger movie in 22 years.
But what about Turbo, a Power Rangers movie?
What about Turbo, a Power Rangers movie? Anyway, stop wasting time with your bad acting and get on with the show.
Alright, let's get started here. Now, back in the day, there were a ton of video games based off the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as we've covered before. But now in this episode, we're going to cover the 16-bit games that covered the 1995 movie of the same name. Developed by Banpresto, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie for the Sega Genesis is a side-scrolling beat-em-up that can be played up to 2 players. The game opens with a breakdown of the history of the Power Rangers, i.e. who they are, how they got their powers, and so forth. In the options menu, you can choose your difficulty setting, your control configuration, and run through the sound, music, and voice clips. After you push the start button, you can select between the 6 Power Rangers who appear in the motion picture. Bear in mind, there's also no human forms here, so that could be a plus. You just battle in your Ranger form, and they all look spot on to their actual designs. The graphics are very well done. From the character models and the backgrounds, from the mean streets of Angel Grove to the wide cityscapes. The presentation of this game featured digitized characters that helped advance the story. The Genesis games always featured a darker tinge compared to its 16-bit counterpart, and we know it's a turnoff for some people, but to us, these games can still provide nice details with their visuals, as is the case here with the characters having some nice shading and a dark outline. The combat in this game is a real treat. Of the 3 buttons in use on the Sega Genesis controller, one is a jump button, one is a basic attack, and the other is a flip kick. The flip kick is your move to get out of a tight spot, hence being swarmed by the putty monsters. It will get you out of a jam, but it will also drain a little bit of your health, so try to use it sparingly. Speaking of that, as you face off against pockets of enemies, a timer will run down and you will have to beat them all within the time limit. Once it reaches 0, your energy will start to deplete. Fortunately, there are plenty of attacks to help you out in your adventure. By double tapping the forward button, you will dash. While dashing, you can hit the attack button for a dash attack, or jump followed by an attack for a drop kick. Jumping forward and attacking will execute a flying punch, while jumping straight up and attacking will perform a flipping air kick. Also, if you hold down the attack button, you can do a ranged attack. Not to mention, a grab toss that can take down groups of enemies at the same time. And the controls feel nice and responsive. The good variety of attacks really does make it an effective brawler. While battling, eventually, coins will drop out for you to collect. Some of these coins provide health, and others are credits for more extra lives. When the second stage starts, we noticed that we were playing through the climax of the film. Well, that's odd. I mean, really? Just 2 levels, and we're already at the climax? It's a really short game if you think about it. I mean, you don't even have to think about it, that's just a short game. But then something unexpected happens. Suddenly, there's a flashback, and the next 3 levels are based on episodes from Season 2. We are now playing with the original cast. So in effect, the game allows us to play with 9 Rangers, making it a celebration of both the movie and the original team. The final level goes back to the movie. All in all, there are 6 levels, which is a bit of a shame, because just as you are really getting into it, the game just kinda ends. It would have been nice if there were a couple of more levels of action. Oh, and yeah, this level isn't annoying. The game also features sections where you battle with the Megazords. What are the Power Rangers without them? After a nice cutscene, you have at your disposal Ninja Megazord, Falcon Zord, Thunder Megazord, and Tiger Megazord, each with their own attacks. In the game, you battle against Ozman and Putties, and later on, you have showdowns against Ivan Ooze, Goldar, Lord Zed, and some of the other familiar faces from the show. The music of this game was composed by Hikoshi Hashimoto and features some nice rock arrangements of tunes from the show, not to mention some sweet digitized voices. The Sega Genesis version of this game is a lot of fun, if a tad on the short side. Highlighted by its array of moves, music, and cinematics, it most definitely belongs in any retro Power Rangers gaming collection.
Natsume developed the Super Nintendo version, and while it is officially a movie tie-in, it really feels more like a sequel for the first Super Nintendo Power Rangers game. While the Sega ones were different games, this one feels like a natural progression from the first. Here we have a side-scrolling adventure, but with 2 lanes instead of 1, as you can use the shoulder buttons to jump back and forth between them. And the biggest plus? 2-player mode. Beating up putty patrollers is always more fun with a friend. Now there are no real cutscenes in the game, not really. It does have a roll call, however, in the beginning, and these nice face portraits. The option menu allows you to choose your difficulty level, which here is between normal and hard. After you select your character, you begin in human form. You have an attack and a jump, along with a jump attack, which is usually a drop kick. Other maneuvers include a big attack, which is up, and the attack button. And you have the ability to crouch attack as well. Now the key here is to collect these little lightning bolts, which you use to fill up your energy bar. You obtain them from beating up enemies or by smashing these silver containers, which may also contain food for life restoration. With the energy bar increasing, you will be able to activate a special attack, which will take up some power. The key here is getting the energy bar filled all the way. Now when this happens, you can morph. Aw yeah, now we're the Power Rangers. Oh, we still have the super buff designs from the first game, I see. Well, like the first game, the overly muscled up Rangers are a little off-putting. While in Ranger mode, you have more reach and can perform a Mortal Kombat style uppercut. After you power up in Ranger mode, you will still need to keep collecting the lightning bolts to replenish your energy bar. Once all the way, your attack button will bring out the Ranger's special weapon that you can use until the bar goes out all the way. But you can also press the X button to unleash the Ranger's super move for maximum damage. The controls are well implemented, and it feels great when you bash your way through enemies. Also, if you recall in our reviews of the first Power Ranger games, we said that the Super Nintendo version was preschool easy. Well, here, they cranked up the difficulty and you don't have unlimited continues. The game is not super hard, but you can get a decent challenge from it. For henchmen, you primarily fight the putties. The Greys can be beaten with one punch, while the more colorful ones have more that they can bring to the table. Graphically, this game really shines, carrying over that bright, eye-popping look from the first game. The environment, the character models are all good quality. You battle through 7 stages, and at the end of each one you face off against a monster from the show. Finally, for the final boss, you take on Mr. Ivan Ooze himself. And to be quite frank, that does expose one thing about this game that was a bit disappointing. This game has very little from the movie actually in it. Now it does have the main points, such as the second incarnation of the Rangers, Tommy is the White Ranger, and Ivan Ooze. But it would have been nice to see more levels and characters that appeared from the movie in the game. But even more disappointing, there is no battles with the Megazords in this game. Yeah, really surprising. They had the last 2 levels of the first game feature the Megazords, and we were expecting them here, but it just never happened. But fortunately, to compensate for that I guess, the music is top-notch and very pleasing to the ear. The Super Nintendo version is a fun game, highlighted by its colorful graphics and solid controls. Both were worthy titles, though we slightly prefer the Sega Genesis version in this comparison, with its simple but effective beat-em-up gameplay, and of course the Megazord battles. But whether you had a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo, if you were a Power Rangers fan, you definitely got a satisfying experience.
Well, at the end of the day, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is one of those rare exceptions when it comes to bad movie tie-in games. The movie was dumb, but it was a lot of fun, and the games were the same treat, a lot of fun with exceptionally good gameplay. And even with the brand new movie coming out, even if it is dumb, we will still have the best memories of the classic games from the good old days.
They'll always be with us. In the meantime, you've watched another review from the Brotherhood of Gaming.com. Thank you so much for joining us. He's Will Morris.
And he's Eugene Morris.
Make sure to stay tuned because we got plenty more content coming up. Thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, if you liked that video, be sure to hit the thumbs up down there below. And if you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all of our future uploads. And also, you might want to follow us on Twitter and Twitch as we're constantly updating news on what's to come there and streaming. So if you want to be involved in the review making process by watching our streams, be sure to head over there to Twitch. See you next time, guys!